In the long, dark history of American true crime, one name sends a particular chill down the spine. A phantom who haunted Northern California, ultimately claiming he'd killed 37 people, and then vanished, leaving behind nothing but fear and a trail of cryptic puzzles. He called himself the Zodiac. For half a century, his identity has remained arguably the most famous unsolved murder case in American history. But the killer didn't just leave bodies, he left a challenge. He sent a series of ciphers to newspapers, taunting the police and daring the public to unmask him. His letters often began with the chilling line, "This is the Zodiac speaking," signed with his iconic cross-circle symbol. Then, in 2020, a 51-year-old message from one of America's most notorious serial killers was finally read. The world celebrated as a team of amateurs cracked the Zodiac's infamous Z340 cipher. But that celebration didn't last long. Two of his messages, the shortest and most tantalizing of all, are still unsolved. For over 50 years, the world's best codebreakers have thrown everything they have at the Zodiac's final secrets, and every single one has failed. This is the story of the codes that continue to stump the FBI and the brilliant minds obsessed with unlocking them. The story kicks off in the late 1960s, between December 1968 and October 1969. A series of brutal, seemingly random attacks on young couples and a lone taxi driver plunged the San Francisco Bay Area into a state of panic. The killer was unbelievably audacious, sometimes calling the police himself to report his own murders. But his real terror campaign was waged through the mail. In July 1969, 3 newspapers got a letter from the killer, each containing 1/3 of a 408-character cipher. His demand was simple: print the cipher, or he would kill again. The papers complied. Within a week, a high school teacher and his wife, Donald and Betty Harden, did what the experts couldn't. They solved it. The message inside was chilling. "I like killing people because it is so much fun," it began. "It is more fun than killing wild game in the forest, because man is the most dangerous animal of all." The Zodiac had established his game. He wasn't just a murderer. He was a puzzle maker, a villain who craved the spotlight. He kept mailing letters, some with pieces of a victim's bloody shirt to prove they were from him, and others with more ciphers. He promised he'd reveal his name in these codes, a promise that would spark a multi-generational obsession. This created the first huge problem. How do you stop a killer who speaks a language no one understands? He had made the entire region his hostage, and the keys to his identity were locked away in a bizarre collection of symbols. After that first cipher was solved so quickly, the Zodiac knew he had to up his game, and boy, did he. In November of 1969, he mailed the San Francisco Chronicle a new puzzle, this one with 340 characters. It became known as the Z340, and for the next 51 years, it was a wall of complete gibberish. Cryptographers at the NSA, the FBI, and universities around the world slammed their heads against it. Amateur sleuths dedicated their lives to it. The cipher became a legend in the world of cryptology, notorious and seemingly unbreakable. The Zodiac's first code was a fairly simple substitution cipher. But Z340 was a different beast altogether. It involved homophonic substitution, meaning one letter could be represented by several different symbols, which hides the letter frequency patterns that codebreakers usually rely on. To make things even worse, the Zodiac wrote the message in a bizarre diagonal pattern, a trick that went totally undiscovered for decades. As the years turned into decades, any hope of cracking the Z340 began to fade. The Zodiac's last confirmed letter was sent on January 29, 1974, leaving a cold trail and a silent, mocking puzzle. It looked like the killer had won. He'd created a code so complex that he had stumped the world's best minds, ensuring his final secrets would die with him, or so it seemed. The puzzle became a testament to his twisted genius, a cryptographic ghost haunting investigators. The breakthrough. Then, in December 2020, the silence was shattered. An international team of 3 amateur codebreakers, David Oranchak, an American software engineer, Sam Blake, an Australian mathematician, and Jarl van Eyck, a Belgian programmer, announced they had done the impossible. They had solved the Z340. This wasn't some sudden flash of insight. It was a grueling, years-long process of computational brute force. The team used Van Eyck's powerful code-breaking software, Decrypt, to churn through hundreds of thousands of possible solutions. They suspected the Zodiac had arranged the message in a strange pattern, so they systematically tested countless variations. One day, Orenshock found a fragment of a solution that looked promising. It revealed phrases like "trying to catch me" and "gas chamber." They knew they were getting close. The final solution required them to read the cipher diagonally, almost like a knight's move in chess, and even then, they found the Zodiac had made mistakes in his own encryption. After 51 years, his taunting message was finally read. It began, "I hope you are having lots of fun in trying to catch me. I am not afraid of the gas chamber because IT will send me to paradise all the sooner." He had misspelled paradise. The FBI quickly confirmed their solution was valid. It was a huge victory for citizen detectives, and a stunning moment in the case. A voice had just reached out from a half-century in the past. The codebreakers were celebrated as heroes. For a moment, it felt like the cold case was finally thawing. But the victory was bittersweet. The message, while confirming the Zodiac's bottomless arrogance, offered no real clues to his identity. And it drew the world's attention to an even more frustrating problem. While the world celebrated the cracking of Z340, the most dedicated Zodiac watchers knew the real challenge was still out there. Back in 1970, the Zodiac sent 2 more ciphers, which would be his last. They're known as Z13 and Z32 for the number of characters in each, and they remain stubbornly, infuriatingly unsolved. The Z13 cipher is maybe the most tantalizing piece of the entire Zodiac puzzle. It arrived in a letter dated April 20th, 1970, and was introduced with the 3 most compelling words in the case. "My name is." This was it, the promised key. But what followed was just 13 symbols. The Z32 cipher arrived 2 months later, attached to a map and a terrifying threat. "The map coupled with this code will tell you where the bomb is set," the Zodiac wrote, referring to a death machine he planned to use on a school bus. The bomb was never found, and the 32-character code remained meaningless. This is the new problem, the one that has stumped codebreakers since 2020. So, what makes these 2 so impossible to solve? It all comes down to their length. Cryptanalysis relies on finding patterns, repeated symbols, and letter frequencies. With a long cipher like the Z408, there's enough data to work with. But with only 13 or 32 characters, there are practically no patterns to be found. Statistically, there are thousands of possible solutions for any given name or phrase. It's like trying to guess a whole sentence from just 1 or 2 of its letters. That hasn't stopped people from trying. In 2021, a French engineer named Fakile Zerouai made headlines claiming he'd solved both. He used the key from the solved Z340 and applied a complex multi-step process to get his answer. His solution for Z13 gave him the name Kayr, which he believed was a misspelling of Lawrence K., a longtime Zodiac suspect. His solution for Z32 pointed to coordinates near a school in the same area K lived, a location mentioned in another Zodiac postcard. It seemed like a perfect fit. But the cryptology community is deeply skeptical. Critics argue that with such a short cipher and a convoluted method, you can pretty much massage the data to produce any name you want. David Orenshock, one of the men who cracked the Z340, even showed how slightly altering Zerouai's method could make the names of other suspects appear. Without a clear, simple key, there's no way to prove any solution is the right one, and not just the product of coincidence and confirmation bias. The FBI has never validated these claims, and the ciphers are still officially unsolved. And so, the mystery endures. Decades of investigation, advances in DNA, and the power of modern computers have brought us closer than ever. Yet the Zodiac's true identity remains a shadow. The 2 final ciphers are his last laugh, a final act of defiance from beyond the grave. They are a mathematical black hole, a code that might have been designed from the start to be unsolvable. What do you think? Do these short ciphers actually hold the key to the killer's name? Or are they just a meaningless prank designed to send us chasing ghosts forever? Let me know your theories in the comments below. And if you're fascinated by the world's greatest unsolved mysteries, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. The Zodiac case is more than a true crime story. It's a modern myth, a testament to the terrifying power of one person's mind to hold the public captive. The murders were the crime, but the ciphers are the legacy. They transformed a brutal criminal into an almost supernatural figure, a puzzle master who played a game with the world and, so far, has never lost. As of today, his final messages are silent. The code that has stumped the FBI for over 50 years continues to hold its secrets, leaving us with the chilling thought that the last words of the Zodiac killer may never be read.